Hey everybody, it's Mike Young, lifestyle nutritionist. Welcome to chapter 95 of my book, Live to 150. This chapter is focusing on diseases of affluence, diet of kings and queens, stuff like this. It's very, very general stuff. You may have heard me mention it in some of the previous chapters, and you may wonder why I've waited to this long to talk about some really general concepts. Well, it's just because so much of this is going against the grain, being different, learning to master your psychology so that you can make choices that are different from the rest of society. But this kind of just wraps it up into a big package. Maybe you didn't notice this before, but I'll talk about it now. I mean, better now than never. The diet of kings and queens, what does that mean? Well, diseases of affluence, what does that mean? Basically, what it means is that the things that most people are suffering from, and I do believe that probably the 80-20 rule applies here. There's only about 20% of the things, which is the food, that are causing 80% of the problems, all right, which is the medical problems. Most all the medical problems, like 80%, are from the food. And these are diseases of affluence. It's not because people are starving and they're showing up at the medical office because they're so hungry and they're just dying of their different things where they're deficient in everything you can think of. It's not the case. They're eating too much. And yeah, a lot of the food is nutrient deficient, but usually in most cases there's not a deficiency, or the deficiency is not the root cause of their actual medical issue. The actual root cause is the fact that they're eating so damn much, so many hot foods that are high in a percentage of calories and fat and high in calories in general. Way overeating, like indulgence, like glutton. Okay, that's what the source of most all of our issues today. And that's why I'm saying diseases of affluence, because you have to be affluent to be subject to that. You can't be just scraping by and not able to pay your bills and be able to do that unless, of course, there are social programs that are handing you these foods. And that is also true today. But again, it's because we're in an affluent country. We're in an affluent society in general. There's always these bailing out programs. And of course, the social programs know nothing about health. They know nothing about health optimization. They know nothing about the role of food. So it's because of the affluence that we have, whether you're rich or poor, and it affects everyone, that you're getting these diseases. Also, diet of kings and queens. In the past, if you look in your history, if you know your history, you know that the kings and queens were always eating kind of like Americans are today. That's why everyone kind of aspires to this kind of stuff. And the kings and queens were always sick, is the other thing. If you look back in the history books, your average laborer back in the day who was eating some grains out of the field was way, way better off in health wise. And it wasn't just because they were doing labor in the field or whatever. It's because of what they were eating. They weren't eating like the kings and queens. And now everyone wants to and is eating like that. All these high calorie density, high percentage of calories from fat foods. That's it. I've already lost my spot here. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is like the concept of dad bod. You ever heard of that? Well, that's like where basically the father or someone who has been involved in raising the kids, or someone who is involved in raising the kids, has got this body that just has a big pot belly, basically. And they call it dad bod. You can spot these dads a mile away, especially when they turn sideways, right? This has got a spare tire in there. Well, most people are like that now. That's the problem. Diseases of affluence, right? They have the diet of kings and queens, and people are always sick. It's like I can look at somebody like that and I can tell they've got some of these diseases of affluence. Now, what are they? What is this? And by the way, another thing for the dad bod. Dad bod is like the popular term, but it's like metabolic syndrome. That's what I call it. That's what I always call it for decades. And now the term is dad bod. But what does it mean? It basically means, like I said, you got that pot belly silhouette. But you've also probably got diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and other lifestyle diseases, or some combination, or all of them. I mean, that's just how everybody is these days. And this is why you need to be different. I've got a chapter on being different. You need to learn how to make the right choices. Maybe there's other options, like I talked about earlier in this book, about joining intentional communities, some of which that we're involved in. But this is so ridiculous to me that I have to say all this, but it is important, okay? This is just a time when all of this metabolic syndrome and diseases of affluence is just the norm. Like, I don't understand how we got to this point. Well, I guess I kind of do. No one taught their kids that this was what the longevity habits, the lifestyle habits, the proper things. the right food choices. Like I'm a lifestyle nutritionist, so I talk about the food because, like I said, 80% of what's going on is because of just 20% of the things that you're doing in your life, which is the food. Okay, it's just the food is causing it, and I hope that it will turn things around. What do you think needs to happen? I mean, does it need to be legislated? Do we need a change to a different system other than capitalism, or it seems like the large corporations that are in power are keeping the status quo? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Start a discussion down there because I want to hear about what the fix is for this. I mean, share my book, share all the chapters, anything that'll catch somebody's interest. Maybe they'll watch some of the other chapters if they like one of the chapters, right? So do that, please. Also, be sure to like the video if you got some value out of it. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you will hear about the next chapter. We'll see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye.